Don't be worried by the disembodied foot behind me. Just the puppy really wants me to get this video over with. What's up, guys? AZ Sports Guy here. We got some really good news that came out yesterday. Former Coyotes forward Lee Stempniak, he is coming back to the organization. Well, he's more specifically getting a bigger role because on January 25th, 2021, so last year, he joined the Coyotes as a hockey data strategist, so technically he's still been involved with the Coyotes, but as of yesterday, August 29th, 2022, Lee Stempniak has officially been named the Arizona Coyotes' new Director of Player Development, and this is a really big role for him. I did see an article yesterday, making the rounds on Twitter, where Lee was talking about how he really wanted to get into player development, and on top of that, while getting all the notes and everything together for this video, I did watch about the first 6.5 minutes of the PHNX interview. He seems excited to be back with the organization, and as someone who cheered for him growing up, I can safely say that I'm ecstatic to have him back in the organization. Now, one thing I thought would be fun, especially after the Kyle Turris video, is just taking a look at this trade. They really want to just look back at more trades and see if there's anything here, though I will give full credit to Petey of PHNX. He mentioned on that interview this little nugget of information. On June 21st, 2003, the same trade that sent Tyson Nash to the Phoenix Coyotes also ended up sending over the 148th overall selection in the 2003 entry draft, and the St. Louis Blues with that pick would draft Lee Stempniak. Small world, I know. But anyway, with that out of the way, giving proper credit, let's go ahead and just look into the Lee Stempniak trade that took place back in 2010. March 3rd, 2010 to be specific, and just to kind of steal a bit of a line over from Craig Morgan on that interview, or I think it was Petey, one of the two, Lee went from the biggest hockey market to Phoenix. He was traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for defenseman Matt Jones, a 2010 4th and a 2010 7th. Matt Jones is a player that I was really high on, really liked the kid. I thought he had some pretty good offensive talent. On top of that, pretty nice guy. Got to meet him a handful of times. On top of that, my name is also Matt. We share the exact same initials, MJ. He also wore number 5, my favorite number. I was literally born to simp for that man. Unfortunately for Jones, he would actually just never really make it, primarily because of dealing with concussions, because about a month after this transaction went through, on April 27th, 2010, it was revealed that Jones was still recovering from concussion. On April 27th, 2010, it was revealed that Matt Jones was not going to be cleared to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs because he was still recovering from a concussion, and he would never play pro hockey again. It's actually really sad because even though Matt Jones is one of my favorite players growing up, I just never ended up looking into his career or really what happened after he left Phoenix. Turns out not a whole lot hockey-wise. Now for that 2010 4th. This one gets traded around just a little bit, so Toronto acquires it. It's 112th overall. They trade it over to Washington in exchange for 116th overall, which they used to select Peter Granberg, and 146th overall, which they used to take Daniel Brodin. The 112th overall selection, Washington would go ahead and select goaltender Philip Grubauer. That is right. The Arizona Coyotes technically owned the draft pick that was used to take Philip Grubauer. I know, it's a really small world, I guess. With the 2010 7th round pick, they actually would trade that over to Edmonton in exchange for a 2011 6th round pick. Edmonton, 202nd overall, would take defenseman Kellen Jones, so there are 2 players named Jones involved in this trade. And the next year, 152nd overall, Toronto would select David Brohl. Not a whole lot all that interesting there, at least from what Toronto gets, but Arizona, they get a really good, Phoenix at the time, they end up getting a really good, talented top 6, middle 6 forward. 2009-2010, the 18 games left in the regular season, he would score 14 goals and 4 assists for 18 points. He was a point a game to end that year. Really, really, really good fit with the Coyotes. 2010 playoffs, 7 games played, 2 assists. Can't really ask for all that much out of him. We go into the next season, 2010-2011. Plays in all 82, scoring 19 goals. I don't know what it is with the Arizona Coyotes just having 20 goal scorers that end up just scoring 19, like Alex Galchenyuk. 19 goals, 19 assists, 38 points. Pretty good player for the Coyotes. Ends up playing in 4 playoff games, no recorded points. And then on August 29th, 2011, so leading up to that 2011-2012 season, the Phoenix Coyotes, they knew they needed an additional piece to help them get over the hump, and they end up making a 1-for-1 trade with the Calgary Flames, where they send Lee Stempniak to Calgary in exchange for former Coyote Damon Lenko. Lenko would have a very good season with the Coyotes that year, 73 games played, 11 goals, 19 assists, 30 points, and in the playoffs he would play in 16 games, scoring 1 goal, recording 6 assists for 7 points. He was definitely a little more the bottom sixer, obviously, but a key veteran contributor for the Phoenix Coyotes going all the way to the Western Conference Finals. But that's not the interesting part to me. Alright, obviously I liked Langkow. It was really cool to see him come back to the Phoenix Coyotes, but while I was looking at the Langkow side of the NHL trade tracker, I noticed something peculiar. August 26, 2004, so 7 years earlier, three days earlier obviously, but about 7 years earlier, almost to the exact date, the Phoenix Coyotes traded away Damon Langkow to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Denny Gauthier and Oleg Saprykin. Growing up, Schustrom and Saprykin were two of my favorite players to watch for the first year or so I was watching hockey, and Denny Gauthier has a fun name. So in my opinion, that was actually the most interesting part of this, is that the same team the Phoenix Coyotes traded Damon Langkow to, they would then just trade to acquire him back. Obviously, they weren't going to get back-to-back 30-goal scorer Damon Langkow out of it, but you know what? They got what they needed. I thought that was a fun little thing to throw out there, and yeah, the Phoenix Coyotes, back when they acquired Lee Stempniak, got a good player in return, and then flipped him to get Damon Langkow back from the same team the Coyotes traded him to 7 years earlier, almost to the exact date, and Langkow ended up being one of the key contributors in the bottom six, helping the Coyotes to their Western Conference final run. That would also be Langkow's last season in the NHL. He would retire shortly after that. In my opinion, retiring on top as far as former Coyotes players are concerned. So yeah, there you go. Lee, welcome back to the organization, or more specifically, I should say, congratulations on your new position. I genuinely hope that you're going to do a really good job developing some of this young talent, because the Coyotes do have an abundance of young talent that are just coming in from this draft, and they're going to continue to have good young talent for the next couple of years. And if we start getting the right people in the right positions, this rebuild, unlike the other ones that failed before, should actually, bear some fruit.